Imagine trying to sleep in a bedroom where every corner is bursting with stuff, clothes draped over chairs, piles of books teetering on the nightstand, and bags shoved into every corner. That was me just last week, lying awake and feeling more restless than ever. A cluttered bedroom doesn't just steal your space, it steals your peace, your energy, even your sleep. And if you've ever walked into your own room and thought, "I can't relax here," then you know exactly what I mean. But here's the good news. Change doesn't have to take weeks or even days. In this video, I'll show you how I transformed my tiny NYC bedroom from overwhelming chaos into a calming retreat in just one afternoon. And the best part? I did it without tossing everything I love, using a simple step-by-step approach that anyone can follow. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll see how a clutter-free bedroom can completely change the way you feel in your own home. If you've ever stood in your bedroom and thought, "Where do I even start?" You're not alone. That feeling of overwhelm is something so many of us face, especially when our space is small and every inch seems taken over. A cluttered bedroom doesn't just make the room messy, it robs us of rest, makes mornings stressful, and can even leave us feeling like we've lost control of our own home. I know that sinking feeling of walking in and wanting to just shut the door. But here's the truth. You don't need to tackle everything at once to make a real difference. Even the smallest steps, like clearing one surface or choosing 5 items to let go of, can create a wave of calm. And when you see those first results, it builds momentum. Today, I'll share exactly how I started small and ended up transforming my entire bedroom into a space that finally feels restful, peaceful, and truly mine again. Today, I'm tackling my tiny NYC bedroom, a space where every inch matters. When a room is this small, even a little clutter can feel overwhelming. But the right approach can make all the difference. I'm going to walk you through a simple, step-by-step method that clears space, calms the mind, and still protects the things you truly love. This isn't about throwing everything away. It's about choosing what truly supports the life you want right now. And the best part is, you don't need endless hours or a professional organizer to make it happen. Stick with me until the end, because you'll see the full transformation. How a bedroom that once felt cramped and chaotic turned into a peaceful place I can finally relax in. If your room feels like it's closing in on you, this might be the change you've been waiting for. Step 1 is what I like to call the quick sweep, and I want you to hear me carefully on this. This is not about perfection. This is not about reorganizing every drawer. We're deciding right now what stays and what goes. The quick sweep is exactly what it sounds like. It's about removing the most obvious clutter, the things you can see right away that make the space feel overwhelming. For me, it started with the clothes draped over the chair in the corner. You know that chair, the one that always turns into a second closet? I picked everything up, one piece at a time, and asked myself, does this belong here? Or am I just stalling by letting it sit here? Most of it went straight back into the actual closet or laundry basket. Already, the room looked a little lighter. Next was the unopened mail stacked on the nightstand. It's funny, those little piles don't seem like much, but they weigh on you. Each envelope is a reminder of something undone, and it silently adds to the stress. So, I gathered it all, made one neat pile, and moved it out of the bedroom. That one act instantly made my nightstand look calmer, and my mind felt calmer too. Bedrooms should be for rest, not reminders of bills. Then came the random bags shoved against the wall, a tote from shopping, a bag from a trip, things I had been too tired to put away. Here's what I noticed. Every bag I picked up was holding things I didn't even remember leaving there. And that's the thing about clutter. It's not just physical, it's mental. Each forgotten bag is like a little unfinished task. By moving them out, I wasn't just clearing space. I was also freeing myself from that nagging mental weight. And here's where the surprise came in. As I did this quick sweep, I finally bent down to check under the bed, a space I hadn't looked at in months. And what did I find? An old pair of slippers I thought I'd lost, a notebook I hadn't written in for years, and even a half-empty storage bin that I'd shoved there just for now. Honestly, I almost laughed out loud because I had completely forgotten those things even existed. And that's the moment I want you to remember. What's under your bed might surprise you too. Sometimes, the things we think we've lost are right there, buried under the clutter. Now here's why this quick sweep is so powerful, especially if you've ever felt paralyzed by the idea of decluttering. When you start small and remove just the obvious clutter, you get an instant win. You don't have to think too hard. You don't have to make emotional decisions yet. And you don't have to commit to a huge project. You're simply clearing the surface so you can breathe again. It's like opening a window on a stuffy day. The air shifts, and suddenly everything feels lighter. For anyone watching who might be older or living with limited energy, this step is especially important. Decluttering doesn't need to drain you. You can set a timer for 10 minutes, do the quick sweep, and then stop. You'll still see and feel the difference, even if you never get to step 2 today. And if bending or lifting is difficult, keep it simple. Just pick one surface, like a chair or nightstand, and focus on that. Even the smallest shift counts. And here's a little secret. The quick sweep often creates its own momentum. Once you see one corner looking calmer, it makes you want to keep going. You start to imagine what the whole room could feel like. And suddenly decluttering doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like an investment in your peace of mind. So before moving to the next step, I want you to pause and think. Where's the one spot in your bedroom that shouts clutter the loudest? Maybe it's the chair in the corner. Maybe it's your dresser top. Or maybe it's under the bed, like mine. Start there. Clear just that one spot. Because when you clear the most obvious mess, you get to feel relief immediately. And that's the fuel you'll need to keep going. And remember, decluttering isn't just about stuff. It's about creating a space where you can finally exhale, where the weight of too much lifts off your shoulders. For me, step 1, the quick sweep, was the turning point. It reminded me that progress doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. Now, I can already hear some of you wondering, but what about the things? I can't just toss aside the things I feel guilty letting go of. Don't worry, that's coming. In the next step, I'll walk you through a simple system that takes the stress out of decision-making and helps you know exactly what to keep, what to donate, and what to let go of. But before we get there, I'll leave you with this thought. If one chair, one nightstand, or one bag can make your room feel calmer, imagine what will happen when the whole room starts to shift. That's the promise of what's coming next. Step 2 is what I call the sorting rule. This is where we move from simply clearing clutter out of sight to actually making decisions about what deserves to stay in your space. Now, I know that can sound intimidating. Making decisions about your stuff is where most people freeze up. But here's the beauty of this step. I'm going to give you a method so simple. It practically makes the decisions for you. It's called the 3-box method. You only need 3 containers. They don't have to be fancy. A couple of cardboard boxes, a laundry basket, or even tote bags will do the job. The magic is in the categories. One box is for keep. These are the items you actually use, love, or need right now. The second is for donate. These are things that still have life left in them but aren't serving you anymore. And the third is for trash. That's for items that are broken, expired, worn out, or simply beyond their useful life. Here's an important tip, especially if you're older or dealing with limited mobility. Don't make the mistake of using huge bins that are heavy to move around. Use smaller baskets, or better yet, bags you can slide across the floor instead of lifting. You'll thank yourself later. Decluttering should never leave you sore or exhausted. It should leave you lighter, both physically and emotionally. Once you have your 3 containers in place, the process is straightforward. Pick up one item at a time and ask yourself one simple question. Does this item deserve space in my bedroom? If the answer is yes, if it's something you truly use or love, it goes in the keep box. If the answer is no, if it's been sitting there and used for months or even years, then it goes into donate or trash, depending on its condition. Now here's the surprise that always gets me. Most of the time, what I think I need actually ends up in the donate box. And I'll tell you, that's exactly what happened to me in this bedroom. I found stacks of clothes I swore I'd wear again. But when I was honest with myself, they hadn't touched my skin in years. I found duplicate gadgets, old decor, even books I thought I'd read someday, but never did. One by one, these things moved into the donate pile, and with every item I let go of, I felt a little lighter. The emotional side of this is real. Sometimes we hang on to items not because we use them, but because they represent a version of ourselves we want to hold on to. A dress from a time we were a different size. A craft supply for a hobby we never actually started. A gadget we bought with good intentions. Letting those go doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're making room for the life you're living now, not the one you hoped you'd live someday. And that shift is powerful. If you come across sentimental things, old photos, letters, keepsakes, don't feel pressured to decide in this moment. Put them in a decide later box, so you can give them the attention they deserve when you're ready. That way, you keep moving without getting stuck. Progress is the goal here, not perfection. And remember, this isn't just about getting rid of stuff. It's about choosing. When you're done with this step, everything left in your keep box will be there because you intentionally decided it belongs in your life. That sense of choice and control is what turns a cluttered room into a calm one. For seniors especially, the donate box can feel extra meaningful, because the truth is, many of the things we don't need anymore could be exactly what someone else does. That jacket you never wore could keep another person warm this winter. That set of sheets that sat at the back of the closet could make someone else's home more comfortable. Thinking about it that way transforms the process. You're not just clearing your space. You're giving your things a second life where they'll be appreciated. When I finished this step, I realized most of what I thought I couldn't live without ended up in the donate pile. And the shocker? I didn't miss a single thing once it was out of the room. What I felt instead was relief. Relief that I wasn't buried under belongings anymore. Relief that I was surrounded only by things I truly valued. So as you go through this step, I want you to pause every so often and look at your boxes. Notice how your keep pile is shaping up. Notice how big your donate pile might be getting. And notice how freeing it feels to toss something into trash without a second thought. That sense of momentum is priceless. By the end of this step, your room is already halfway transformed. The clutter that's been weighing you down is sorted. Your choices are clear, and the space is beginning to breathe again. And trust me, the best is still ahead. Because next, we're going to take the things you've chosen to keep and organize them in a way that actually works, so the clutter doesn't creep back in. Step 3 is where we unlock the hidden storage tricks that make even the tiniest NYC bedroom feel spacious. Step 3: the hidden storage trick. Now that the quick sweep is done and the clutter has been sorted, it's time for one of my favorite parts, the hidden storage trick. This is where the magic happens, because clearing space is only half the battle. The other half is making sure that space stays clear. And for that, we need storage that actually works for the way you live. Here's the good news. You don't need expensive furniture or a full room makeover to make your bedroom feel bigger. You just need to be a little strategic about how you use the space you already have. In a small NYC bedroom, or really, in any bedroom where every inch counts, you have to think vertically, you have to think under, and you have to think inside. Let's start with drawers. Most of us stack clothes on top of each other, and what happens? The shirt you actually want ends up buried at the bottom. So you pull everything out, and before you know it, the drawer is a mess again. That's why folding clothes vertically instead of flat is a game changer. It means you can see everything at once, grab what you need without disturbing the rest, and fit more into the same space. When I tried this for the first time, I was shocked at how much easier it made my mornings. No more rummaging, no more frustration, just calm efficiency. Next is one of the most underused spaces in any bedroom, under the bed. For years, I treated mine like a black hole, random bags, forgotten shoes, even things I didn't want to deal with. But when I swapped that chaos for a few simple underbed containers, everything changed. Suddenly, that lost space became prime real estate. Out-of-season clothes, extra linens, even holiday decorations, all tucked neatly away where I could still reach them, but without cluttering the room. The best part? Sliding a lightweight container is easy on the back and knees, making it practical for anyone, especially if heavy lifting is tough. Now, let's look up, because vertical space is your best friend in a small room. Walls aren't just for artwork, they're opportunities. A simple over-the-door hook can free up closet space. A small shelf near the bed can replace a bulky nightstand. Even a slim hanging organizer can turn wasted wall space into a home for shoes, scarves, or accessories. You don't have to cover every inch of wall, but a few smart choices can open up the floor and instantly make the room feel less crowded. And here's the little surprise I mentioned. One small organizer, the kind that costs less than $10, ended up making the biggest difference for me. It was a simple hanging shelf insert that turned one section of my closet into 6 neat compartments. Suddenly, my sweaters weren't piled up, my scarves weren't falling over, and everything looked like it had been given a home. It was such a small change, but the impact was huge. Sometimes, it's the inexpensive, simple solutions that save the most space. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I've tried organizing before, but it never stays neat. And I get that. I've been there too. The difference this time is that these hidden storage tricks don't just create order. They make order easier to maintain. When you fold clothes vertically, the drawer almost organizes itself. When you have underbed containers, you're not tempted to shove things randomly where they don't belong. And when you use vertical space, the floor stays open, which makes the whole room feel calmer. And here's the emotional payoff. When your things finally have a place to go, you no longer feel buried by them. You walk into the room, and instead of seeing piles and clutter, you see breathing space. Instead of fighting with your drawers or digging through closets, you can actually enjoy the room you live in. That sense of ease isn't just physical, it's mental. It's the difference between feeling trapped in a small space and feeling free in it. So here's my challenge for you. Look around your bedroom right now and ask yourself, where is there hidden storage I haven't used yet? Maybe it's under the bed. Maybe it's that empty wall where a few hooks could make life easier. Maybe it's the drawers you've been avoiding because they're always overflowing. Pick one spot and give it the hidden storage trick treatment. Even one small upgrade, like that little $10 organizer, can set off a ripple effect that transforms the whole room. By the end of this step, you'll notice something powerful. Not only is your room clearer, but it feels like it's working with you instead of against you. And that's the key to making decluttering stick. Creating systems that make staying organized feel natural and simple. Now, at this point, the room is looking so much better. But before we reveal the big transformation, there's one more piece to tackle, and it's the most emotional part. In step 4, we'll deal with the items that tug at your heart, the sentimental things. Old photos, keepsakes, gifts. These can be the hardest to sort, but also the most rewarding, once you find a way to honor them, without letting them take over your space. Step 4 is what I call the sentimental pause. And I'll be honest with you, this is often the hardest part of decluttering, because now we're not just dealing with clothes or papers or random bags. Now, we're holding memories, old photos, gifts from loved ones, little trinkets collected over the years. These things aren't just objects, they're pieces of our lives, reminders of people and moments we never want to forget. When I got to this step in my tiny NYC bedroom, I came across a small box tucked away on a shelf. Inside, I found a keepsake from my mom, something she gave me years ago. The moment I held it in my hands, I felt tears welling up. And right there, I had to pause. Because how do you decide what to do with something that means so much? Even if it's been sitting untouched for years? Here's what I realized. Decluttering sentimental items isn't about forcing yourself to throw them away. It's about making intentional choices that honor both the memory and the space you're living in now. And there are a few ways to do that without guilt. The first option is to choose the best, not all. Instead of keeping every photo, every card, every souvenir, pick the ones that truly capture the memory. Keep the letter that still makes you smile when you read it, not the stack of dozens you never look at. Keep the one gift that feels special, not every single one you've ever been given. By choosing the most meaningful, you're giving those items the respect they deserve, instead of letting them get lost in a pile. The second option is to repurpose or display. That keepsake from my mom, I didn't want to bury it back in a box. Instead, I found a way to give it a place where I could see it and appreciate it every day. Because what's the point of keeping something precious if it's hidden away, gathering dust? By displaying it, you're not just storing it, you're living with it, letting it brighten your life. The third option is to let go with gratitude. And this one is important. Sometimes we hold on to things because we feel guilty letting them go, as if tossing a gift means tossing the person who gave it. But the truth is, the love, the memory, the connection, that lives in you, not in the object. When you let go of something with a thankful heart, you're not erasing the memory. You're simply choosing space and peace over clutter, saying, this served me once, but it doesn't serve me now. Now, I know this step can bring up a lot of emotions. It's okay to take your time here. If something feels too heavy to decide on, set it aside in a memory box or a decide later pile. The key is to keep moving forward, even if the progress is small, because every step you take is a step toward a bedroom that feels lighter and more peaceful. Here's the emotional pull I want to share with you. When I held that keepsake from my mom, I realized that keeping it wasn't about the guilt of letting It was about love. I chose to keep it, not because I had to, but because it still brought me joy. But there were other items in that same box that didn't have the same pull. They reminded me of her, yes, but I didn't need them to feel connected. So I let those go, with gratitude for the role they once played. And when I did, something shifted in me. Instead of feeling weighed down by stuff, I felt surrounded by meaning. That's the balance of the sentimental pause. It's not about stripping your life of memories. It's about protecting the ones that matter most. When you do that, the things you choose to keep become even more precious. They stand out, instead of being buried in clutter. And here's the truth. You deserve a bedroom that reflects who you are now, not just who you were in the past. Your memories are important, but so is your present peace of mind. By finding the right balance, you create space not just for your history, but for the life you're still living and the moments you're still creating. So, if you're facing sentimental clutter right now, give yourself permission to pause. Hold the item, feel the memory, then ask yourself, does keeping this bring me joy today? Or is the memory enough on its own? Whatever your answer, trust it. There's no right or wrong, only what feels right for you. By the end of this step, your room won't just look different, it will feel different. It will feel like a space filled with things that truly matter, not weighed down by guilt or just-in-case items. And that shift, from cluttered to curated, from overwhelmed to intentional, is the heart of this entire transformation. Now that we've faced the hardest part, it's time for the best part, the reveal. In the next step, I'll show you how the room looks now compared to where we started, and I'll share the unexpected ways this change has affected not just my space, but my peace of mind. Living in a small NYC bedroom, I often felt trapped by my own belongings. Every time I walked through the door, I wasn't just seeing clutter, I was seeing reminders of tasks I hadn't finished, goals I hadn't met, and a life I felt I wasn't keeping up with. It was heavy, not just on the shelves, but on my spirit. For a long time, I thought letting go of things meant giving up or losing part of myself. But the truth I discovered is that letting go isn't about loss, it's about freedom. It's about creating a space that supports the life you're living today, not one that weighs you down with the past. And when I finally released what no longer served me, I gained back something far more valuable than the stuff. Peace of mind, lighter mornings, and a bedroom I actually look forward to spending time in. That's the gift of decluttering, not emptiness, but space to breathe again. Now, when I walk into this room, everything feels different. I can breathe easier because the weight of clutter isn't pressing in on me anymore. I can actually see the floor, and that simple change makes the whole space feel bigger, calmer, and more welcoming. My mind feels lighter too. No more silent stress every time I glance around. And at night, my sleep has improved because my bedroom finally feels like a place of rest, instead of a reminder of everything unfinished. But maybe the best part is pride. I'm finally proud of this tiny space. It may not be large, but it feels intentional, peaceful, and truly mine. And here's the takeaway. When you clear out what doesn't serve you, even the smallest room can become a retreat. Decluttering isn't just about organizing things. It's about creating an environment where you can feel calm, rested, and at home in your own life. So now I want to hear from you. What's the one item in your bedroom that's the hardest to let go of? Share it in the comments, because I might do a video next on how to handle sentimental clutter without the guilt. And if this video inspired you to start decluttering, even if it was just one drawer or one small corner, give it a thumbs up. It really helps more people find this message and start their own journey. And don't forget to subscribe to Simplify After 60 for more simple, doable wins that make everyday life feel calmer and lighter. Together, we're proving that even small steps can create big transformations.